Right, hello, welcome everybody to the Konkering podcast with myself, Jevon, and my glamorous co-host,
Maddi.
Welcome everybody. So we are on a journey.
We are
Talking to people about their business, high performance, sporting achievements, less so much about the achievements, more so about the journey, whether at the start of their journey, their targets, their goals, midway through, starting or have finished their journey and feel like they've got a lot of value to offer. We're also in the business of defining success, aren't we?
We are.
So we want to define our hosts and our guests' success to ultimately be able to help everybody else try and define their success and try and sort of start a journey for themselves. So we've got somebody rather special on today, haven't we, Maddi?
We have. We're treating you all.
Master of coin, table football striker and defender and midfielder, actually. Marketeer, would we say? What else would we chuck in there? Competitor, recruiter, business owner, yeah. But we've got today Mr. Tom Stewart, recruitment business owner. Welcome to the pod,
Maddi, Jevon. Good to see you. What an intro!
What an intro! Anything you'd like to add to that one?
I don't know how much longer it's going to go on.
You can chuck it on there if you like.
Listen to this back with a notepad, I think.
We're cheating a little bit here, aren't we? I suppose the purpose of this introductory podcast number 2, we're introducing Konker Recruitment, aren't we? Which we're all a part of here. Myself and Tom, 2 directors, Maddi, marketeer extraordinaire, and nice person. But
all round good guy.
But like I said, we want to go through the business, obviously talk about your journey, Tom, as well as Konker Recruitment as a whole, haven't we? So
I can do that.
Do you want to give us a little rundown of Konker?
Little intro to Konker, yeah. So we are I describe us as a specialist recruitment agency in that we are very specific in a couple of sectors. So started out in the built environment, we're introducing new industries such as sales and marketing, just started events, and there are some other exciting sectors in the pipeline.
Yes, fab. Okay, so the foundation, I suppose, is built environment, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Different types of engineering within that, building services, M&E, civil structural, architectural, bit of building surveying, bit of quantity surveying.
Yeah, so we started out recruiting in what we knew, which was architecture and engineering, and that is slowly transitioning into more all-round consultancy for the built environment. So consultancy services for the built environment. Mm-hmm. So like I say, architecture, engineering, sustainability, now introducing building surveying.
And then there's a couple of divisions which have come along fairly recently. Yeah,
so just starting sales and marketing, which is really exciting. We're already working with some really unique businesses in that industry, both actual marketing agencies, but even more exciting, just some companies that are in industries that are, you can almost describe them as a bit random, but like every business needs good marketing and salespeople. And we've already had some real success in placing people into those sort of growth aspects of businesses. So, and quite often you're partnering with companies that are actually trying to scale to a degree as well.
Yeah.
So that's quite exciting.
Bro, okay. Based in Exeter, aren't we?
Based in Exeter, yeah.
We recruit across the country. Want to say the UK, England, Wales, Scotland, bits and bobs. Not so much
worked
Ireland.
A job in Ireland once.
Well, it was some Irish-based companies. Went to Dublin last year.
Yeah, counts.
But I suppose just to sum it up, built environment, sales and marketing, events, recruitment business based in Exeter, covering the whole of the country.
Yeah, and I'd probably say that we're actually making, again, more of a transition. It's a real interesting time for the company because we've laid the foundations doing all of those bits and pieces, but we're moving into a real interesting new phase where I prefer to describe us as more of an all-round talent solutions business. We're going big on employer brand, we're going big on marketing, we're going big on media, and actually trying to bring those services to the clients that we recruit for as well.
Yeah, okay. Let's start from the beginning then. Going all the way back to the start and the inception of Konker. How did that come about?
5 long years ago. I say 5 long years, but it's actually just flown by.
Has it? Yeah.
Literally disappeared.
Yeah.
Which is scary, but all good fun at the same time. So Jevon, Curtis, and myself all worked at the same company together. I'd been there for the least amount of time. Jevon had been there for the longest, and Kurt had been there for not
The middle.
Not too much less time than yourself, though, did he?
It's about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Was this all of your first jobs, kind of?
It was my first job in recruitment.
In recruitment, did you go to uni?
No. To be honest, my first job that introduced me to like sales and business was with a real good friend of mine. Shout out Tom Fanthorpe.
And what's his business?
And his business, they sell engineered oak flooring, and they do joinery.
Right.
So they got a joinery workshop. They do a lot of bespoke doors.
Give them
windows.
a shout out.
JFJ Wood Flooring. Check them out.
Tag that. Tag.
But yeah, they do lots of bespoke doors, windows, really nice, like oak joinery, hardwood timber, all that kind of stuff. And then they were doing hardwood, so doing oak flooring, and then they started doing engineered oak flooring, which is a product made up of laminate layers with a solid. You look like I'm boring you.
I have no idea.
Oh god, I love wood.
That-
I love wood.
Yeah, so that's what they do. But I started working there as more of like a yards person, so
Right.
just helping out in the yard, because I'd done classic upbringing. Went to college, done sports performance and excellence, dropped out of that.
Nice.
Went back, got a trade, so I had something to fall back on, as they say. And then started working with him, doing that after doing like some building work. But that was really interesting because it was like it's a family business, only him and his dad. But his dad's quite a salesman, he's quite a salesperson, and that actually just gave me like a really interesting insight into the way companies run.
Yeah.
And like slowly like picked up a few more responsibilities actually in the office, a bit of stuff on the phone. But actually just seeing the day-to-day logistics of running a company. And like he'd share loads of conversations with me and talk about certain struggles they had going on and all this kind of stuff. And that was quite a turning point for me, actually learning about something a bit commercial.
Yeah.
But anyway, so done that, and then I ended up getting into recruitment because Curtis was in recruitment. He'd worked for a company before, moved to a company in Exeter, said there was jobs going. I went along for an interview, got a job there, and then met Jevon there.
That was the
And the
story.
friendship was formed.
Yeah,
That's probably about 7 years ago, I reckon.
Wow.
7 years ago.
Long time ago, and me and Jev didn't have much of a relationship when I first joined.
Really?
I don't think Kurt and Jev had much of a relationship.
No, we
at the
didn't
same
really.
time.
It was a bit strange. We weren't not friends, were we?
Yeah.
But like, the thing is, for you guys, you lived in North Devon, both of you. So you
Right.
had to travel all the way down to Exeter,
Yeah.
which, it was like 40 miles, wasn't it? And took you ages, didn't it?
Yeah,
so,
long drive.
So you guys were still based in North Devon. I was not an Exeter boy, but a bit more local. And for you guys, it was a get to work, go home sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
And you all had your friendship groups back in North Devon, that sort of thing. And I mean, I keep myself pretty separate, work
From work.
and thingy everywhere. Like, I quite like that boundary, but we weren't not friends, were we? We all
No.
got on. Like, we definitely like created a bit more of a three ball, definitely, like as things went on, I would say, because of the age we were at, everybody else, and we're all a very similar sort of mindsets as well, weren't we?
Yeah.
So what was the first kind of conversations then? So you were all working at the same recruitment company together, and how did the first little talks of Konker
chat.
come about then?
The chat.
Yeah, I think that there'd been a few conversations. Kurt was almost like the Lynch Pin. I think like Kurt had been having some conversations with Jevon.
He'd been doing some detective work, didn't he?
Okay.
And then I'd had some conversations with Kurt, and then I can't remember the exact story, but weren't we playing table tennis late
Yeah,
one evening
something
or something?
funny like that. Yeah, it was something
Classic,
like that. I can remember it really well. I remember having loads of conversations with Kurt because we used to go out together. What we did was quite close. We used to make a bit of a day out of it, and we'd go to Bristol, Cardiff a lot of the time and go to Five Guys.
What, just to Five
Not
Guys?
just to Five Guys. It was an excuse to get out and see clients, but it was also an excuse to go to Five
Okay,
Guys.
right.
And it used to be a thing. Like, we used to love it. And, you have those sort of conversations in the car, don't you?
Yeah.
And then, Tom was obviously best friends with Kurt. Those conversations we're having, we were all on the same page. So it wasn't like the first conversation was anything like out of the blue, was it?
No.
I don't think so. We all knew what we were working towards. And then we were just, I was looking at a few businessy things outside of what they knew. We all got to a point where I think we were all like, just knew it was going to come sort of thing. I feel like that. And then, we were playing table tennis. I remember it, how we were playing table tennis. We all stayed a little bit later on. Everyone else was at the office, and just had the chat, didn't we?
Made a plan.
Made a plan.
It was a little bit sheepish.
I think that we were all in the same stage of our lives where we had no responsibilities. You know, nobody owned a house, nobody had a family. It was like the perfect time if you're ever going to do something like that, then to do it.
Yeah.
I think that we were all a little bit ready for something new. Like I was looking at potentially going to Australia. I had contacted a recruiter in Australia. Turned out I didn't earn enough to qualify, but
Right.
But so
what's the limit? What was?
Mate, it was like 90 grand. It was silly.
Bit off that one then.
So we'd all been having like conversations, but so yeah, it was no real big surprise. We had a few meetings outside of work, made a very loose plan, just kind of talked about how we thought we were capable.
Yeah.
We just thought we were good enough recruiters that we could just go set something up,
Yeah.
go find some clients,
Yeah.
and just get something started and see where it went from there.
So separately to this, like before you even got into recruitment, did you ever think that you would own your own business?
No,
Was
not
that
at all.
ever on
No.
your journey plan?
No, I
No.
wasn't like commercial or particularly entrepreneurial. Like I said, I went to college, done sports performance and excellence, made the wrong friends, and then just thought, oh, I've been that off. And then went back to college because get a trade to fall back on.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what parents say, isn't it? So like I said, went there, done that, carpentry. It was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Started working on site for a while, and then it was all because of going to work there, like I said, at Tom's place. And then a few other things changed. I started getting to the gym and like fitness, and that changed me a little bit because that teaches you so many discipline. Yeah, it teaches you so much discipline. And then what was interesting about that was kind of when I actually started going into a bit more of a learning phase. Like I'd done all right at school. Like I was just like a average performer, but never actually tried very hard.
Right.
So then I ended up getting a bit more like a natural interest, and then naturally like you start researching and learning about it.
That is so funny because you just love to learn.
I know, but I never used to.
It's crazy.
Ask my mum, she would say that I hated to like study or revise. I wouldn't do any of it. But we'd always just get by.
I get that though, isn't it? Because school, like these sort of subjects that you have to learn are forced upon you, aren't they? I'm the same as you. I have always loved to learn certain things, but like I wouldn't put any effort into other bits and bobs.
No.
So it's just what you like, what you enjoy, and once you grow up, I think, probably in your instance, you knew what you wanted to learn about, and I can't imagine you went out and just learned maths and loved learning maths because that's not what you wanted to do, is it?
No.
Valid. Yeah. No. If once I get a bit of an interest in it, I'm a little bit obsessive with it.
Yeah.
So I'll go
big,
go big,
get deep. Okay, so what happened from there then? I mean, I know the story obviously, but
so then we started having a few meetings outside work, like I was saying, and made a really loose plan and just went for it.
And it wasn't thrown together, was it? It was pretty meticulously planned, I would say.
Yeah, we had a strategy.
There was a good period of time that it was in the planning phase. I want to say 6 months actually. Thinking about it, it's probably from like February to September, I reckon.
Yeah.
And you hadn't like left your jobs at this point. You were still.
This was bits and bobs after work, wasn't it? At your place, you and Kurt lived together at the time, and there's quite a lot of planning that goes into that sort of stuff. But I think we all just enjoyed the planning phase, wasn't it? It was exciting. We were all working alongside it, and getting like really stuck in with the planning. And there's a lot of admin to do, isn't there? And like deciding, names and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So being a 3, how did you find that in the planning phase? How did that all work? Talk about that.
Yeah, personally, I think that I would never have set up a business on my own.
No.
And I think 3 is the magic number. I think that 2 people, you'd potentially just have differing opinions and it'd be hard to actually make a final choice.
Yeah.
I think with 3 people, although we're always 9 times out of 10, we're pretty much on the same wavelength anyway. But I think with 3 people, if there's one person swaying towards something else, chances are the 2 others are swaying towards the other thing, and you can just go with the majority. But also, we were quite fortunate in that we all had quite different like skill sets and things that we're actually slightly better at.
Right.
So we naturally just went into certain responsibilities and just drifted towards what we were better at, which actually complemented each other nicely.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So massively fortunate.
3's a good number as well, isn't it? Because like you say, 2 people, differing opinions, but 3 people, it's a conversation, isn't it? And you can work things out pretty nicely. And obviously, the more people you've got, the more the responsibility you can spread across the table, can't you?
Yeah.
Which was really nice. And like you said, if you have got 3 people that are fairly on the same page, you know, but have different skill sets, that's really useful.
Yeah.
It's really useful. Yeah. So that was interesting. So a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, not like loads and loads, but there was a lot that went through. And then choosing the name, that's a funny thing to talk about, isn't it? Because everybody asks about that.
Jeff can take the lead on that. He remembers it.
I remember it really well, to be honest, because it was weird. You know, we thought about loads of different names, didn't we? You know,
Ace Recruitment.
Ace Recruitment.
I think that might be mine.
Yeah, but that's the sort of thing that you like. That's the fun, fluffy stuff of business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know, like it's the fun, fluffy stuff.
JTC.
Naming a business. We had loads of different bits.
Well,
acronyms.
those companies do initials, and surnames, and all that kind of stuff.
Middle names, last names, all that sort of rubbish.
As soon as we looked at it, we were like, hate that.
This sounds like such a Terry, but Konker works so well that I can't even imagine.
Well,
anything
it's worked out so nicely, isn't it?
Yeah.
The story was, how I remember it is, you know, we met once a week or something like that, didn't we, for quite some time. So we had loads of time together, and we just jotted down names and stuff like that. And it was never something which we were like, right, let's sit down and work on a name, was it? No. You know, we had a bit of time when we were like, right, let's have a think about some names, that sort of stuff. And
it needs to be natural.
Yeah, we tried to make it as natural as possible, but you've also got to think about it, haven't you? And we had a few lists of things like JCT and all this sort of stuff. And there was one name which was like the front runner, which looking back was shit. I can't remember
was it
what
not,
it was.
I think it might have been Ace Recruitment though. Like I think it was something like that.
I think I know it. Next Gen.
Next
Gen.
I swear my nursery was called Next Gen.
That's mental, isn't it? That was one of them. I don't think that was the one, but that was definitely one of them. But I remember just chucking stuff down on a page, mixing stuff up, and Konker was never really a front runner, was it? It was never really one which we were like, yeah, that's definitely it. I think we had a conversation, and it was quite funny because all 3 of us contributed to it quite nicely, really. I think like it might have been me who said, let's think about words conquering. You know, it's not what we wanted to do, but it was just a nice name or a word. Yeah. And then I think Tom changed it to a K.
Like changed the spelling.
Yeah, slightly to a K. And then Kurt changed like the Q to a K as well, and like gave it big kickers and stuff. And we're like, yeah, fine, that's nice. Konker, like sounds nice. Yeah. And then we had a list, didn't we? I think we had a short list of like 10. And like I think I took them home to my parents and family and said, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. I think you did the same. And
and like quite a few people came back and said, yeah,
Konker
really
is
like
quite
Konker.
interesting. And I think what was good about it is it always like created intrigue, didn't it? Like people were always like, what does it mean? Like, why have you said that sort of thing? Yeah. And it's, you know, that's a good thing because people want to talk about it, don't they?
Yeah. Like so easy to remember as well.
So easy to remember. A bit of a tangent, it's quite funny, but I do remember when we set it up, and probably like the year after, I was talking to my granddad, and bless him, he's got Alzheimer's now, so he you know, he was at the early stages of that, didn't really remember an awful lot, and he always remembered Konker.
Really?
Like he always remembered the name. It was really strange. Like you'd tell him what we did and stuff, and he'd be like, oh yeah, Konker, but like he wouldn't remember what it was, sort of thing. So like that was sort of like the litmus test, wasn't it? Like it actually like really easy to remember, and it is simple and easy, and it's a bit like Google, isn't it? Yeah. You know, like what does Google mean? Well, not a flipping clue. Yeah. But it is quite nice that I think sometimes with Konker, people do connect that to the actual Konker sort of thing. You know, it's a strong word. I don't think there was any intention of having that connection initially, was there really? No. But if there's going to be a connection to something like that, it's quite a nice connotation. Yeah. Because I agree. You know, we are at a phase now where we do want to go a little bit harder and faster, sort of thing. So the
naming process is so funny, though, isn't it? Because like you could spend so long trying to figure out a name. Like you could spend such a long time, whereas really doesn't matter that much. No. Yeah, you want to get something that's memorable and you know, recognizable and a bit different, so it's not the same as everything else. But like I'm of the opinion, if you need to name something, then
just do it and build a brand
around
it.
Yeah, that's the important thing, isn't it? And you have really built a brand around Konker. I'm just kind of thinking back to like the very first like Konker logo.
Oh, that was so good.
It's been a few stages of development.
That was some of my handiwork.
Yeah. So going right back then. We've named Konker. What was the next thing?
Well, what do you do? And like take it right back there, because you know, like you said, we all had separate roles. What did you do in those early stages?
Yeah,
and what,
so when we
tell me about your progression to where you are now, with what you did.
Progression to where I am now. So from the beginning, I've always been a bit more like IT, a bit more tech, a bit more computer savvy, for want of a better phrase. So like when we first set up, we were like, right, well, we need a website. Where do we get one of those? Let's make one. So I spent a good amount of time, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, sitting on the sofa watching 30 seconds of a YouTube tutorial about how to make a certain aspect of a website, and then just copying it.
Wow.
And then just went through that again and again and worked through it page by page. And if anyone saw it, it was pretty good.
It was really good. Well, it was. I think it did a pretty good job to start off with.
Did a good job. There were just loads of stock photos. It was functional. Like, it all worked. It was all it worked really well, and it had like an actual function, so you could apply for jobs, and all of that was kind of built into it. So that was really good. So yeah, I naturally got attracted to doing more stuff like that to start with.
For a website that wasn't just like a page, there was functionality behind it.
Yeah,
wasn't there, with the job applications, that sort of thing. You know, you did a pretty good job with that.
To say you taught yourself from YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can just learn anything from YouTube though.
Yeah.
Ever in doubt, YouTube it. Like, somebody's done it before, and just follow it step by step. So yeah, done that. What else did I do a lot of? Back office. You joke, and like people joke, master of coin, but yeah, I naturally, like, mum works in accountancy, naturally got attracted to more of the finance stuff, kind of was good at that, understood a lot of that, a lot of legislation type work, you know, naturally falling into that too. So not necessarily the glamorous stuff, but some real like business nuts and bolts, I suppose. And I actually just carry on doing all that now, so there hasn't been it's got more complicated. You know, we've moved into actually bringing people on and all of the technicalities that come with that, and running a payroll every month, and setting up a pension scheme, and paying employer taxes. Like, there's so much that goes into actually building a team and doing all that, which, we've just learned on the job as well. You know, no one taught us how to do any of that. We've just kind of overcome each hurdle as they've
From your side then, you know, starting the business to where it is now, what advice would you give to somebody hoping to start their first business?
What advice would I give? I would say definitely plan. I think that we were actually that paid its dividends by doing some good planning, but don't plan to the point of procrastination. Like, actually, just once you feel like you're in a position to go for it and actually get things started. Just start. And then, like I said, there's so much you can just learn and overcome. Like, nothing needs to be resolved immediately. You know, you can work your way through issues, and nothing's like so mission critical that if you don't know how to do it right away, then you're just going to fail. So yeah, just start. It's so cliche to say just start, isn't it? But
I think it's so relevant. I think it's so relevant. I think it's totally cliche. I think it is for people that have started a business and, you know, maybe listen to these sort of businessy podcasts. But I think like it's so simple. Like, you know, a lot of people like to glam up their like business advice, don't they, and be like, have a really complicated answer and try and sound really clever with this sort of stuff, like, you know, do this, do that, blah 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 blah. But like, just start. That is, I honestly think that's the best advice anybody could give anybody.
It's a bit more tactical though. Like, I would actually say try and find somebody to start something with.
Yeah.
Like, I think that going it alone is such a tricky place to be in. Like, especially in an industry that's either like sales or recruitment. Obviously, every business has its ups and downs, but like recruitment's really notorious for having a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with people at the end of the day, and things change, and there's so much that's out of your control every time. So, yeah, it would be easy to like really fall into a rut if you're on your own. Whereas we've been really fortunate in that we've got each other to sort of motivate each other, keep everybody accountable. And move through tough times, and then like when it's going good, you can enjoy it together as well at the same time.
So your best advice for somebody starting a business, just to summarise: number 1, start, just get started. Number 2, find somebody to do.
Partner up.
Yeah.
Tough though. Where'd you find that? I feel like you've not got people that
like,
I
feel like listening to this, it was so natural the way Konker was formed with all of you, and maybe that is like a key reason why it's worked.
Well, I think find people that you trust, that you're happy with, that sort of thing. You've got to be on the same wavelength, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you give any advice? What would you give what would you say, to anybody in like your position of a business? So like saying with the website, for example, would you say to people, yeah, build your own website, or would you
I'd say
do that
yes.
differently if you
I'd say
did it again?
yeah. I'd say if you're on a tight budget, which 3 lads in our 20s, we didn't have loads of savings each, really. I especially didn't. I sort of, spent as I went, really, while I was working.
Spent it all on Vegas a couple of months before, didn't you?
Literally. So, if you're on a tight budget, then, see what you can do yourself.
Yeah.
But if you've got a bit more money, then I would say it might be better to get somebody to do it for you, and just get it right, or better first time round.
Must be difficult to know where to spend the money, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, difficult to know where to spend the money. I guess website wouldn't be the first place that I'd actually spend the money. Or I wouldn't spend the money at all, to be honest. I'd run as lean as possible, because we were really, really fortunate as well that it hardly cost us anything. Like, we went 6 months without paying ourselves, so we were sort of living off savings then. We put in like a really small amount of money to set the business up, but it didn't cost loads to run, really low overheads. We were working out mine and Kurt's flat for the first 6 months.
How was that? You got any stories from then?
That was...
Bloody loads. Walk up to Sainsbury's every day and get chicken bites. Chicky bees.
Didn't you all still used to come like...
Fully dressed, dressed to impress. We did, chinos and shirt every day to work in the flat.
You straight out of your bedroom, shower, straight back in, chinos and shirt, straight to the kitchen, sit down desk.
The funny thing is, as well, we had a whiteboard up on our living room wall.
Yeah, it was so funny.
God.
So me and Kurt,
lived and breathed
work, because it was all just literally right there. But that was great, because we weren't spending any money.
Yeah.
There was all such excitement as well at the start, wasn't it? That's good fun, isn't it?
We used to have the Google Lounge, which is literally just the living room. We'd break out into there
in the afternoons.
Get your
admin done.
Get Dragon's Den on in the background for some real inspo. But it was good. It was really good. Really good way to start it. The poor neighbour downstairs used to work shifts, so he'd be home during the day and we'd be upstairs kicking a football around at lunchtime to entertain ourselves.
Booting it around the kitchen. Yeah, that was funny. Okay, so just moving on then. This is a 2-part question. What is Konker's end goal? At the moment, and what's your end goal? Where do you see that going? So I don't know which one you want to answer first.
I'd say that Konker's end goal is, we've had loads of conversations about this recently, and it's changed so much. Like, when we first started, we had a business plan, and this is what we were going to do in 2 years and 5 years. But now, we've actually got much more of a clear path or vision of what we want to create, and that is a real centre of excellence for the best recruiters in Exeter. We want to be seen as a real employer of choice. So all the best and the most successful, this is where they are. But we also want to have a lot of enjoyment and experiences alongside doing that. So, we don't want to just be about being really good at recruitment. We want to enjoy spending the time together and, do a lot of experiences together. So some of that, we went to Dublin last year, and that was one of the best experiences all of us had, getting out of work, just doing something completely different together, and that's where all really good relationships and bonds are formed. So that's where we're going with Konker for the recruitment side of things. But like I said right near the start, really, we're going through much more of a digital and media phase at the moment. We want to be more of a talent solutions business and just be seen as really valuable to the companies that we recruit for. Sometimes recruitment can be tarred with the same brush as some other kind of sales roles and almost looked down upon and not seen as a professional service. Whereas, you ask any company, what's the most important part of your business? Every company pretty much is going to say our people. So,
why don't they value recruiters as much as that?
But,
and look, our clients definitely do, don't they? That's for sure. There's so much value in a good recruiter.
Exactly. Yeah, and we work with the companies that value recruitment. We don't choose to work with companies that aren't going to value working with you. So going back to the question, that's what we want to be seen as. A partner, a talent partner. So if you're looking to scale, grow a business, you're going to engage a company that's going to promote your employer brand, overcome your challenges, deliver on hard to fill roles, introduce talent to your business, and just grow your reputation. So
I think just to add to that is, it's not just about being, the average normal recruiter, is it? Just contingency here, there and everywhere sort of thing. It's, like you say, if you are actually serious about recruitment, growing your business, bringing new people on, it's not just about sending CVs for us, is it really? We certainly started off like that, didn't we? But the direction we're going now, we want to offer different levels of services, different types of services. We don't want to be just your normal everyday recruiter that's just sending CVs over, do we really?
No. Like you said, we certainly started that. Like at the beginning, we were like, take everything we can get.
Yeah.
Our first job, me and Kurt were sat in, where were we?
Pret.
We were sat in Pret in town. Like, we're having our internet done or something. We had no internet at home. So we were like, we'll go to Pret and hustle. But anyway, we were sat downstairs in Pret and did a bit of work, and then Kurt was like, Tom, look. And I was like, what? And he had just architectural technician, please. We need just an email from a company, just saying that. And we were like, we've got a job to work.
It's funny. But like, we want to offer just much more of a variety of services, don't we really? I think it's quite easy to say. From an employee branding point of view, a lot of what we're doing with yourself, with the marketing, different levels of service for people that are in different situations of hiring different types of people, different amounts of people, that sort of thing. But also an awful lot in terms of like the video and media side of things, isn't it? That's something which we've, gone head first into, which we feel like we could offer really good value to different clients of ours.
Yeah, massively so. I think that any business that has ambition to grow or ambition to be successful really should just consider themselves should consider themselves as a recruitment business.
Yeah.
I think that so much time should be put into creating a culture and an employer brand that attracts the best in your industry to want to come and work with you.
Yeah.
You've been doing a lot of our marketing and a lot more of our own employer brand stuff just for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And like, we've seen amazing results of people getting in touch with us that are interested in finding out more about the business, asking us if we're currently recruiting, just introducing themselves because they've seen what we've been doing online, they've seen a lot of our video content, they've seen, and not just like us having fun, there's like videos that are floating around of just a team talking about, their goals for 2024.
Yeah.
And we've had people say to us like, I can't believe you're having those kind of conversations in the office and being so like transparent with each other and encouraging, and it's such a team because we'd never have those kind of conversations at our company. And people people want that.
Previous
people want
company.
that kind of previous company, and people want that kind of environment. So massively of the opinion that if you're growing a company, think about your employer brand, consider yourselves as a recruitment business. So much focus should be going on that, because ultimately, the question for most like issues or anything you need to do in a company should be who can do that, not like how can we do that. Who's the person that's going to come in and actually solve this for us.
I think it's been really prevalent, like Konker on its own journey, realising how important our employer brand is. We've realised that actually like this is kind of what our clients need to be thinking about as well. So
if it can work for us, just after 5-6 sort of months, and no offence, but it's very much like a blank canvas for you as well, wasn't it? It was all new sort of stuff, just this video, different types of content. It's obviously going to work for our clients, especially the type of businesses that hadn't really done any sort of marketing, any sort of brand awareness, management, that sort of thing to start off with. If they can attract 2 or 3 people to join them directly, that sort of thing, give a much better impression, paint a much bigger picture of what their business is about. That's what the harder candidates to find are looking for. We're all, Tom and I still on the tools in terms of recruitment. We still recruit, the really decent candidates, the really good candidates, the more senior candidates that are, they are looked after really well. So they're not going to jump just for a job title and a salary, are they? They want to know everything about the business, and there might be a few different bits and bobs in videos, content that they see out on LinkedIn, social media, that sort of thing, that might spark them and think, right, actually that's really decent. Work-life balance, whatever it is, the environment, office, this is great. It just gives so much of a better impression of your business and what you've got to offer, rather than just a normal web page, LinkedIn, couple of jobs advertised, here's our employees. Gone are the days where you can get away with that and you want to grow as a business now, because we can quite confidently tell you, if you've got a really decent if a recruiter has a really decent candidate, or even a really decent candidate is on the lookout for a new opportunity, and they see 3 websites, one of which really, really good engineering company, let's say, but really bad brand awareness, poor website, nothing on LinkedIn, they could be the better engineering company to work for, but they're going to get beaten every time by that company who's able to promote their business and has a better brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it even goes further, like beyond the benefits of like workplace flexibility and stuff like that. It's about the actual experience that candidates get from the clients that you guys are working with, and like how they're treated, and that's how they perceive our clients valuing their people that they've already got. So it's so important for so many different reasons.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. People want something that's so much more meaningful.
Yeah.
Like we'd quite often refer to certain trappings that you might have, within a list of benefits that you might offer. They're almost niceties, some of these things, but so much of it is about actually what are they going to experience, how are they going to progress, how are they going to be challenged, what are they going to learn. It's all these other bits and pieces that make up that opportunity.
And sometimes you can't demonstrate that as well as you can just on a job advert or description. A lot of that has to be almost told as sometimes a bit of a story, throughout a couple of different posts, your social media, your branding, you can't culture's a great one to explain it, to be honest, because you can put down on your job advert great culture, right? Well, that's going to get trumped every time by a company that posts videos and talks about their brand awareness on their LinkedIn, on their social media, actually demonstrating their culture, rather than a company that says we've got a great culture.
And you're going to find the right people, aren't you? You're going to find the people that actually fit into your culture, if people can understand your culture from what they can see from the outside.
Yeah. That's a great point, because every culture is very different as well, isn't it? So yeah, you don't want people that don't want that sort of culture to join your business, do you really? Great culture. Well, again, we're in the business of trying to define success. How do you define a great culture?
Yeah, different for everyone.
Different for everybody.
And I think marketing literally is telling a story, and you've got to be the own author of your own story.
Wow.
So you've got to get your own content out there of how it is where you are, where you work, to, like you say, attract the right people that fit. Definitely.
Fit
you.
So I asked a 2-part question. I think we've answered one part. So that's the business goal, and that is very much about being an employer of choice in the area, being able to attract all the best recruiters locally and create a business off the back of that, which offers longevity, success, experiences, and opportunity to its people. Fair to say? Fair summary?
Yeah, nice.
What's your personal goal then, would you say? What does the end of your journey look like?
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, this is a nice one.
I don't know, but it probably involves a boat.
Loves the sea.
No, I don't know. That's a really tough question, isn't it? Because I'm not at a point that I see myself not doing anything ever, I'd love to be involved in lots of different facets of this same business. I think that we're on a trajectory where we can create a company or set of companies that can offer so much to the topics that we've discussed. So yeah, definitely see myself playing a really big part in all of that. I'm really not sure what my end goal would be.
I might be able to help you with that. I don't want to, tell you what your end goal is, but I feel like we're but this is what's going to happen, all right? I don't necessarily have an end goal, but I mean the end. But I've worked out a little bit differently, and we're both very similar sort of people. I think we definitely want the same things, but I think the goal is just to constantly progress. As an individual, but also the business as well. We're not. We set up the business, and I've personally always wanted to do business, and I know that's definitely the case for you now. But as long as this is like the baby, isn't it? It's fun coming to work. It's fun working on the business. Always want to progress. You don't want to have a couple of stagnant years. So if we can just constantly progress year on year, develop the business, and that trajectory, the bigger we get, the more money we're able to make and all this sort of stuff, it gets bigger at the top, doesn't it? So my end goal is to be able to look back on my career and know that I've constantly progressed and not been able to go backwards. And that's not going to happen every year, is it really? Because, you know, you're going to get setbacks, that sort of stuff. But, you know, the mindset of constantly progressing as a person, but also the business too, I would say. And then if you think of it like that, you know, it's very hard to work back. Well, a lot of people set a big goal, don't they, and work backwards. But if you think about it from the start and constantly progressing, you know, you can't go backwards.
Yeah, I think there is merit to like actually look at what the end goal is as well. Like, I listen to so many random podcasts about business, and some of them do say like you can just reverse engineer what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, actually define the end goal. You know, what does that look like? You know, what is it? You know, how much money is it making? How many people does it employ? Are you selling it? Who are you selling it to? You know, all of those kind of bits and pieces, and then work backwards from there.
But what happens when you hit that goal?
I can't see how we've done that.
What happens when you hit that goal?
Yeah, I mean, then things might change, won't they?
That's the thing,
that's
isn't
when
it?
you want the next thing.
Yeah. So
Well, going back
if you're constantly progressing, you know,
5 years, was this like where you are now? Was this a goal in your head, or?
I think we set some like pretty wishy-washy goals of being able to like exit the business and all that sort of stuff. You know, really like businessy goals, like just to like fluff up our egos, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, like being able to
there.
exit the business, you know, with this much money and like sell the brand and all this sort of thing. But I've lost sight of all those sort of goals, really. I just take it on a, you know, year by year basis.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can't remember if there's anything specific we set out 5 years ago. There were chats like we're going to open an office in Manchester, and then we're going to open an office in London. Turns out you can just do everything online and don't need to be there.
It does make me laugh when people have like, especially recruiters, offices in like Exeter, Plymouth, Bristol. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What are you trying to achieve there?
Yeah.
There's no benefit.
No.
But it's interesting, or maybe we've just worked out that we need to work out some long-term goals.
Yeah, I'd probably say that we do, yeah.
And work back. You like working back from that sort of
Reverse
stuff.
engineer it, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on then. What's the biggest lessons you've learned so far, would you say, sort of with setting up a business?
Biggest lessons we've learned so far. I'd say that a lot of them have come once we started employing people, because that's when it actually became a business, you know, to a degree.
Yeah.
You know, there was just 3 of us, you know, there wasn't, we were the decision makers for everything. You know, there wasn't responsibility to others there. And I think as soon as that happened, things changed quite a lot. But I'd say that with hiring, we really learned quite quickly that you've got to hire the right people. You can't change people. You know, you might think, oh, that person's a diamond in the rough, or, you know, we can help coach them this way and change this and change that. But you really got to have the right attitude. You've got to have the right mentality. Like, the actual person's so important. And yeah, you won't ever change people. That's why now, like, our interview process is stringent. You know, we have a lot of stages. We have a lot of 2-hour interviews.
And the rest.
Like a long interview, you guys.
We do love a long interview, but it's because we end up just chatting about so much other stuff rather than just a job. Like, if the person's up for it, and then, you know, they're happy to talk about, you know, all of their interests and their family and all the stuff they like to do outside of work, that's when we end up chatting for a long time, because they're like, there's such important parts about bringing a person into a small culture.
Yeah.
And if you think, when there was 3 of us, you know, that next person was going to be 25% of the culture.
Yeah.
Public math, is that right?
Yes.
You're asking it wrong.
Spot on.
Don't
Master of coin, math man over here.
don't do public math.
Accounts.
But you know, you get the point that they're going to be such a big proportion of the culture. So
Yeah.
each time that needs to be the right person. I think it probably gets less important. I don't know. I mean, it might get less important the bigger you get. You know, the person might not have as much of an impact, but yeah, yet to be decided. I think we're of the opinion that get the people that are right for the company, you know, right for the business, and we're right for them.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point bringing people in that aren't going to enjoy working here if we're not right for them as well, because it's definitely a two-way street.
Yeah, I think at the start we were really, like, we made mistakes obviously, but quite precious almost as well, you know, like, people are really important, really, really important, but maybe we hadn't quite worked out as well, you know, the right kind of people for us. And I think we probably negotiated a little bit too much on our, well, I don't know what to call them, but, you know, what we were looking for, you know, the key things we were looking for in the right kind of people. Yeah. And now it's definitely the case that we haven't, skirted away from that at all, have we
Yeah,
really?
we don't compromise now.
Yeah, and that's essential for the culture, isn't it, really? Because if you bring in one bad person, that can change the whole culture of a whole different business. And I think we've personally seen that before, haven't we, a long time ago?
Yeah.
Sort of what we did. So, okay, so biggest things for you then, I suppose, the biggest lesson that you've learned is in terms of hiring. And I suppose it's really relevant for every business as well, isn't it? Especially a recruitment business or, definitely our clients as well. But culture is a really big one, but don't deviate away from your criteria and your non-negotiables.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And you did mention at the start, so you can't change people.
Yeah, I think that it's so easy to see all of the good in people and think that
You can
you
change
might be
them.
able to change them in one way or another or whatever that may be, but
Yeah.
we tried that, it doesn't work.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. So, big part of the podcast, how would you define success?
I couldn't give you an end goal, mate. I'm not going to give you success.
Hello, do that. What's the textbook definition? We'll just put that down.
I don't know, but it's probably going to be something really cliche, I suppose. How would I define success?
I'll change the question. What's your?
What does it
how
look
do you?
like for
Yeah,
you?
what's your success? We're in the business of defining success, but as time goes on, we're going to have lots of different definitions to put together to offer to different people. So, what does your success look
Are
like?
you making a book, are you?
Wow.
Yeah,
Don't
maybe.
say no.
Yeah, could do.
Write that one down.
First podcast episode, already onto a book.
I've got a book in mind.
How would I define success? I would define success. That's probably got a few different pillars for me. I think there's probably friendship. It's probably family. It's definitely financial. These are all starting with F.
The 3 Fs.
Hang on, write this down. This is going in the book.
Has anyone got a last F for me? Fun.
Fun.
That's actually it for me. I'd say
Shit,
that
the
family,
4 Fs.
the 4 Fs. So I'd say family. I think that so easy to get consumed, especially for like people our age. So easy to get consumed with what you're doing and like what you've got going on that it's easy not to make time for family and actually, like especially parents, grandparents, all that kind of stuff. Like I know I made mistakes by not spending enough time with grandparents before it's too late. So yeah, massively actually something that I'm consciously trying to do is do more with like parents, for example, and other siblings, and actually make more time for family. Friends, trying to do more with friends as well, like same scenario, I suppose, that it's easy to get consumed by work and not actually just commit some time to friends. We've started carving out a bit of time every year for a boys spa weekend, which is nice.
That's cute.
That is very cute.
But no, like it's actually nice, we go away, spend some quality time together, actually just talk about whatever we want to talk about and just spend good time. Like gone are the days for us to go out for a night clubbing.
Well, throwback 5 years to Vegas. Is it the same
That's it.
friendship
Yeah.
group?
It is the same friendship group, yeah. So yeah, friends, financial success. Obviously, I think that for me, financial success is like just being comfortable. Like I'm not a big spender. I'm actually a big saver.
He says.
I like the.
Always has the new gear.
I like a gadget, but I do save. I don't spend a lot. But yeah, financial success to me, just be comfortable, but be able to, do the things that you enjoy, go places that you want to go, shop where you want to shop, that kind of stuff. And then fun. Fun was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's your theory, mate. The 4 Fs.
No,
The 4 Fs.
Fun and fitness, maybe actually. Like I think that.
Hang on.
Yeah, I'm going to
Five
change
5
it.
Fs.
Tie them into both. Fitness is fun.
No, I can keep them separate.
All right, yeah. So fun. I'm gonna like tie in a lot of travel to that. I think that if I can be out, going to lots of new places, got a bit of a list, got a bucket list, places we want to go. Desperate to see the pyramids. Desperate to go to the Rockies in Canada. There's lots of like bit further afield. Not just a city break weekend. That's not really my cup of tea. Like
They're big experiences.
Want to go
aren't
for
they?
big
They're
experiences.
Life.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Milestone holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, and then fitness. Like I think that this year's big for me. If anyone doesn't know, I'm tracking my sleep religiously.
Go on, show us.
Whoop.
He's on the Whoop hype. He's hoping for a podcast sponsorship from Whoop, like everyone else.
Shout out Stephen Bartlett. But yeah, no, fitness is really important. I think that I mentioned it earlier or alluded to it that going to the gym and actually just building a bit of structure of like self-improvement and discipline was massive for me, because I was just a bit of a dosser. You know, didn't do loads, just I wasn't too fussed about anything like that. But as soon as those cornerstones of like discipline, hard work, self-motivation, because once you take fitness seriously, it transcends into everything else you do in life, whether that's work, relationships, family, you know, whatever it may be, then I think that it's really impactful. So yeah, fitness is important.
Fitness is not to cut in there, but that's a big old bracket as well, isn't it? That can be perceived in so many different ways, you know, like gym for yourself, but health as well. Overall fitness.
Well, sleep, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned sleep. Like, it's so impactful. Honestly, listen to this podcast. They go into so much that it impacts, from like actual risk of death, you know, like serious stuff. It was like shift workers are 15 times more likely. No, sorry, got that wrong. Start it again. Shift workers will die 15 years earlier than somebody who doesn't work irregular shifts. So, and that was defined by, if you do 4 night shifts a month, you're deemed as a shift worker.
Wow. So just irregular sleep patterns?
So having irregular sleep patterns, being awake while you shouldn't be awake. So there's no such thing as a night owl, because apparently it's scientifically proven that people that say, oh, I'm a night owl, I just like to stay up later. No, biology says that you're meant to go to sleep when it gets dark and wake up when it gets light.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like so much science. I don't know all of it. I'm going to butcher it if I try and tell you any more. But just stuff like that, I think is really important I want to operate at like peak performance as much as possible. Like, and I want to feel as good as you can feel. What's it for? Just life.
Just your life.
Just life.
Just being successful.
That's success. Should we summarise? Who remembers
the 5
them all?
Fs.
The 5 Fs. Who remembers them all?
I'll let you do it. Go on.
Family, friends, finance, fun, fitness.
There we go.
Fantastic. And if you tick all those boxes, you'll be a happy boy.
Yeah, happy boy. I think that all of them are obviously work in progress as well, aren't they? Like, you're never going to be there with all of those, are you? But I'd say that's it for me.
That's great. Well, that's a nice definition, isn't it?
That is lovely.
First one.
Yeah.
Put that in the book.
Beat that, whoever comes on next.
Yeah. Moving on to a few more shorter and sharper little questions here then. What content or material should people be consuming?
The Diary of a CEO. No, I like The Diary of a CEO is great. Actually, what I like about Stephen Bartlett is he does get on people that aren't just about business. You know, there's so much health, wellness. You know, they talk about some really random topics, but it gets really interesting people on. I'm massive on podcasts, so probably all of the things I give you will be podcasts.
Yeah, all from a podcast. So for other people, like business people, maybe in your situation, I don't think it has to be sector specific or whatever, you know, you would recommend Stephen Bartlett is sort of
a bit more specific to recruitment. I'd recommend the Recruitment Mentors podcast. Hisham.
Tag him in.
They talk to all kind of people on different recruitment journeys. So actually people working in recruitment, so just like recruitment consultants and people that might have had really good years or, you know, done something really outstanding. They get a lot of people like that in, and then they talk to new business owners, so people that might have just started up and done a year, but then they get some people in that have been there, done it, seen it all. So yeah, it's a really eclectic mix of people that they, you know, get insight from. Who else do I listen to?
You look on Twitter a lot, don't you?
Yeah, don't tell people that though. Do you mean
X?
Do you mean X?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I consume a lot on there, but that's just because
Current affairs.
I get a lot of current affairs from there.
Yeah.
Well, you're a big Elon man, aren't you?
Big Elon man, yeah. I like Elon Musk. I think that, impressive entrepreneur, probably the greatest ever. Wow. What else?
Podcasts. You're a big man on podcasts. Then, aren't
it's all
you,
about
really?
podcasts for me.
Sort of
I do a bit of reading. Like I read a lot of books, but I tend to like read history or autobiographies. But there's some good ones out there. Elon's autobiography is good. Richard Branson's autobiography is good. What's his name? Carry the Boats.
Dave Goggins. He's, I mean, motivationally, he is top drawer, isn't he? That's for sure.
He's
halfway through that at the moment. That's great.
Yeah. You don't know me, son.
Listen to this one podcast. It's American, and it sounds loads cringier than it is, but it's called My First Million, and it's cringy name, but it first started out as they were interviewing people about how they made their first million. I'd actually recommend that because they have some really good chat on there. It's moved away from that now, more sort of general business. Quite American though. But other content, just anything that Konker puts out.
Yeah, all of it. Relevant employer brand. Next question then. Who's your biggest inspiration in your sector? Tough question. And if you can't answer that, then who's just your biggest inspiration?
Who's my biggest inspiration in recruitment? That is a tough question. Oh God, I could be so cringy. I'm gonna.
He's gonna.
I'd say that my biggest inspiration's probably Jev.
Oh, I knew it.
That's really nice. Go on.
No, I'd probably say he is because I've only worked in one recruitment place, one recruitment company, I should say, and then set up our own business. So I haven't seen loads from like other recruiters and other places do it, but Jev is like the ultimate hard worker.
Oh, shit, son. I'm gonna cry.
No, but he is, and he's so every day. You know, he'll be the first in the office, last out the office, first on the phones. You know, following the process, doing the nitty gritty work, and then like sometimes you think, oh, Jev doesn't haven't heard loads from him today, or there's not sure what's been happening, and then he'll go and chuck a couple placements up on the board and chuck a few interviews up, or it gets to the end of the week and he just fills the board up with loads of activity, and it's like, so yeah, no, Jev I'd probably say is one of, if not the biggest inspo.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Wow.
really
Don't know what to say.
nice.
There's some kind words. Should we move on from that one?
Yeah,
It's all getting a bit awkward. I think we've asked this question, but what's your best advice to somebody at the start of their journey in your industry? So we're getting a little bit more specific here, I suppose, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd probably say.
I'd tell you what, somebody who's thinking about starting their journey.
Yeah, I'd probably say we started out in the markets that we recruit in because it's what we knew. So like that's a natural route of progression to go into what you already knew, which I don't think is a bad thing. But in hindsight, I start to wonder whether there's definitely reason to like explore some other markets, or at least do some research into some other industries. Because what we have always recruited in, I don't necessarily think it's the best market in the world to recruit in. And I think there's a lot of opportunity elsewhere. And it's been really good. We've built a really good business over 5 years. But like part of me always just wonders, if we spent 5 years focusing on a completely different industry and doing something else, like what would that look like? It's all ifs and buts, obviously. But I guess my advice would be, maybe don't just stick to what you know because it's comfortable. Maybe have a little look, do some research, see what else you might be able to recruit in before just going with what's comfortable.
Yeah.
Because there might be options there.
Maximise your opportunities.
You think maybe that's because you've seen how successful the new sectors are here at Konkers, like so quickly as well?
Yeah, defo.
And the opportunities they present as well.
Yeah, seen a lot. Yeah, but I think that the people that we have doing those sectors are really good recruiters as well. So that obviously plays a big part into it. But also just from listening to podcast stuff and listening to other people in the industry talk about what they do and some of the numbers that they're hitting, some of the money that is available in some other industries. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there, and I don't think it's actually that hard to like learn a new industry. I've ended up recruiting in like architecture, a couple of different disciplines in engineering. Feel like I could almost just pick up any industry pretty quickly. Whereas at the beginning, that's quite daunting. Yeah. To think that you can go and start recruiting in an industry you don't know much about, but it doesn't take long.
I mean, the argument, the bounce back to that is, you've got to make money pretty soon, don't you? If you're starting up your own business, is that a worthwhile course to be able to go and do that? Short term, maybe not, but long term, you've got to maximise your opportunities in different environment, can't you? You could be an amazing recruiter in the built environment and make, I don't know, 150, 200 grand sort of thing a year. You could go do exactly the same in a different environment and make $1 million, couldn't you?
Yeah. Hard though, because all ifs and buts. But
But it's a huge point to consider, isn't it? That's for sure, if you're able to. Definitely. Okay, brilliant. It's a nice one for you. Loves his tech. How do you think your industry will change in the next 10 years? I think we're going to have a few buzzwords come up here in a second, aren't we?
2 letters.
Yeah.
AI. No, I don't know. I think AI will definitely play a part. To be honest, we've got a really good friend that their whole business is around AI in recruitment. So AI definitely will. How else? I think that it's sort of definitely already started, but going so digital, isn't it? You know, everything's going to video. I think if you're still posting pictures of the stuff that you've got happening in your workplace, then you're definitely missing a trick.
You'll be at a disadvantage.
You'll be at a disadvantage for sure. I think that...
Where do you think AI will be used? You know?
I'm no expert, but I think that it would be used in simple stuff like screening of candidates, and you know, people will be using it for content and creating job descriptions. But I think that some of the bigger stuff that it will be used for will be the way that it could advertise and almost follow people around on the internet. So like,
that's a good point.
You know, we're starting to do more and more posting on social media and advertising our jobs there and thinking about promoting those. But then that's where all the attention is. And I think that more and more AI will be used to, you know, follow people around the internet, keep hitting them with touch points about the business. Not necessarily an advert, but you know, if we've got this media, we've got this content, you know, you go on LinkedIn, you see a piece of content from Konker, and then you go on Facebook and there's a different post on there, and then
you could argue we're pretty close to that anyway, with, you know, algorithms and Facebook ads and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, defo.
But it's obviously going to get a lot better, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that would be big. I think that another way that the industry will change is, again, what we've been talking about. I think that more companies will look to work with a recruitment business that can add value rather than just send CVs. I think that so many people are tired and frustrated with what recruitment is, of, you know, just getting agencies just bombarding companies with CVs, and that's all they can offer. I think that it will definitely change, and more companies will be looking to actually partner with 1, 2, you know, or a select number of businesses that are going to add so much value to the company, and are going to go out there and promote the business and build the employer brand and actually do what we've been talking about the employer brand, grow that for them. So I think that will definitely happen.
Nice.
Interesting points.
Yeah, I mean, AI is such a big one, isn't it, really? The advantages and disadvantages of, you know, what could happen with it, and it's all going so quickly at the moment.
The trouble is, like, all I use AI for is making fun pictures.
Yeah.
Or like if I've got a tough maths calculation.
Yeah. So how did that integrate? That's the question, isn't it? Do you think AI, you know, this is a token question, isn't it? But will it displace recruiters? Will we just need AI to recruit?
For some kind of positions, for high volume kind of roles, I feel like AI could probably end up doing a large proportion.
A good enough job.
You know, if it's a high volume type role where there's a lot of people that are going to fulfill it, you know, they might be permanent, they might be temporary, they might be, you know, just short term roles, then yeah, potentially. But I think for, you know, high level, tough to find positions, niche skill sets, and when people are looking for people to join a business and grow the culture, then yeah, no, people won't get replaced, because I just can't see that AI would be able to go out and understand the kind of person that a company is looking for, you know, how they're going to fit in culturally, and then actually make the connection with, like what you said earlier, people that are gainfully employed in a role, really well looked after. AI is not going to be able to approach and sell a new opportunity to that person.
No. Will AI ever have emotion?
Yeah, that's a great
I mean,
question.
that is a whole different conversation.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit,
that's
a bit above us.
Isn't that sentient? Isn't that what you describe that as? Sentient AI?
Yeah, well, I do say please and thank you to any
ChatGPT.
AI tools that I use.
You shouldn't.
Just in case.
You shouldn't say that, because if you say please, sometimes it can say no. It thinks you're asking it a question. So you need to give it a command, not a request.
Well, I just think, what about in 10 years and
Be nice.
these robots?
You were the one of the nice ones.
Remember that I
You
said
said your please and thank yous. Good film out at the moment, The Creator. We're a bit past it, but that's AI driven. You've seen that, haven't you?
Yeah, good film.
Great
good
film.
concept.
What could happen in the future? I think we were having this conversation the other day, weren't we? Or a while ago, about, you know, will AI displace the recruitment industry or different sectors? But, you know, again, I listened to a podcast and a lot of it was saying, you know, yes, AI is an amazing tool and an amazing thing to have. It will make things a lot easier for a lot of people. But, you know, whenever new technologies come out, like the computer, you know, or, you know, the laptop or the mobile phone, none of this sort of technology has ever really displaced people or humans. A lot of it has just made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know, they've used it as a tool rather than a complete replacement. Like robots, you know, people still do an awful lot of, you know, manufacturing, all that sort of stuff. Robots are used, you know, very intelligently, but it's just made things a lot easier for us, and we've just used it very differently.
Yeah, it just becomes an industry shift, doesn't it?
And I suppose the scary thing is, you know, AI is being developed and upgraded so quickly. So is this going to be very different? You know, all these industries that have come, and, you know, new technology and tools that have come in the past, has been fairly slow growth in comparison to what we might experience with AI. You know, yes, ChatGPT, you know, is growing. It's growing quickly in terms of software, isn't it? So, I think, you know, like in 5 years' time, where could it be? It could go that quickly.
I think like it would actually negatively impact hiring companies to a degree. Because, you know, we're going to get to a point, we might even be there, where if I'm looking for a job within a particular industry, there might be a platform that I can go on, upload my CV, and then this AI will apply for every job that is relevant to what I'm looking for, or the criteria that I insert. So then imagine companies just going to get bombarded by CVs from, you know, people that haven't even looked at a website.
Have no personal touch.
Yeah, no personal touch, and, you know, might not even be interested. So, like, from a company's point of view, even more reason to partner with a recruiter,
a talent partner,
aka talent partner.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's all food for thought, isn't it? Definitely. What are you doing differently to conquer your journey than your competitors, would you say? I think we've touched on a few bits and bobs.
We've covered a lot of it. All of the media, all of the content. Definitely what we're doing culturally. I think that we're creating a real environment where it's not just like about giving a lot, or, you know, benefits and things like that, but like we said earlier, like a culture of support, like amongst the people that are here. Like, so many of our conversations are open door conversations, and so much of what we speak about happens about on the sales floor, about what people have got going on, celebrating success, talking about how we could have done stuff better, and it just creates that support culture. So I say we're doing that differently. We definitely covered a lot. I don't know, can you think of anything else?
Yeah, I'd say, like, in terms of we want to be, this isn't so different, but like a big thing we're focusing on now, you know, we want to be a centre of excellence, don't we, an employer of choice for different recruiters. How and why we being different from everybody else? Well, I think we're trying to perceive, there are so many bad recruiters out there, aren't they? So many bad recruiters, and we all know how much value a good recruiter can add. We really want to make, you know, the recruitment that we're doing a real long-term career, and have a lot of opportunity for the people joining us, because it is a hard job. You know, it's sales. You know, you are on the phone a lot. You know, you do have to work really hard. The lows can be low, the highs can be high. But, you know, I think so many recruiters out there are just in it for a quick buck, just to make money. You know, and I think we're not necessarily in it just to make money. That's not our sole objective. Is we want to create something, don't we? You know, we're on a journey of being able to create an environment which we can grow, and everybody really enjoys being here. And the money isn't the byproduct, but it's almost a byproduct of that, isn't it? So I think that's something which we're doing slightly different to a lot of, you know, local recruiters. And it's easy to say, isn't it, when you're, you know, the director of a business saying it. You know,
what do you think, Maddi?
Probably a lot of other people will say
Come
it.
on,
But
you work here.
I think it is, like, obviously I'm not a recruiter, so I don't know the comparisons to a recruitment company, but just as a place to work, like, just echoing everything that you just said, it really is just so supportive. Like, I've never worked anywhere else that has the open door conversations, like you said, with anyone else, and everybody has their opinion, but it's a valuable one, and everybody takes it on board really well, I think. And it is just about the culture that you guys have built, for everybody to be like okay with somebody having something to say about it, or like, but also everybody here is each other's biggest cheerleaders, and on the same breath. So yeah, just echoing everything that you're saying, everything you're wanting to do, you're doing it.
I think we want to offer so much more opportunity in terms of like personal development and progression, and, you know, work-life balance is such a big one for us as well, isn't it? You know, it's being able to enjoy your job, not see work or recruitment as a chore. And,
Yeah.
Like you basically said at the start, those 5 Fs, we are so on board with trying to get all, tick all those boxes for everybody else, rather than just, get to a senior consultant stage, right? You're not making any money, see you later, sort of thing. That can be such a, stop for people in recruitment, get to a certain stage, can't quite get past that next hurdle. So it's really about just trying to create a really successful career and environment for our people.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people that we know that follow us on social media maybe sometimes think that like all we do is have fun
and games.
Fun and games, but I think it's just because everybody is so happy to be at work, and like, everybody comes in looking forward to the day. Well, I certainly do, and nobody is ever like in a bad mood either, which is so nice, because everybody does feel supported and like happy with what they're doing. So yeah,
balance is a big one.
Balance.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for the kind words, Maddi.
Pay you later.
We may have covered this a little bit. I don't think we have, though. What's the best technology you're currently using?
Best tech we're currently using? For work, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a difficult question, really, because this doesn't have to be the most exciting tech, the stuff that people want to hear about, sort of thing, is it? The obvious answer would be, we use loads of AI and this works for us and makes us loads of money. But I suppose sometimes it's bang for buck, isn't it, really, with this sort of thing?
Yeah, I'd say that, like, internally we use a really good CRM, like a database system, so that's good. I'd say that something that is actually really basic, but like email marketing. Like, I think that it's a bit different of an answer, but we've been doing loads of email marketing recently and actually using, we use MailChimp for, we're doing like a big marketing campaign at the moment, but that's like generating so much for us. And that's generating people that other people won't necessarily be speaking to.
Yeah, it's a different outreach.
It's completely different outreach in the way that we're doing things, but that is actually adding value to potential candidates in the industry by giving them something in return for getting in contact. So I say that's that. But yeah,
that's not a new tool or anything like that, is it?
No,
really?
MailChimp's been around for ages. I first used it at JFJ with Florin, so learnt it there.
Yeah.
But other things we use: Recruiter, LinkedIn Recruiter. I don't know if I want to give this one away, but we use Apollo. Look it up if you want to know what it is. But no, it's really good. It's like an email finder. We use it for finding the right person's email.
It's a free tool as well, isn't it? You can pay for it, but
we've paid for some other stuff. Like, all of the stuff that is good for us is bits of tech that we pay for to like streamline or improve or make more efficient. So like another really good one is a bit of kit called Sourcebreaker, but without like boring everybody, it just collates all of the CVs that you're looking for into one place rather than going to all those different places to find it. And from a recruiter standpoint, that's pretty impactful, because if you're not doing
big time saver.
You're logging into one website, looking for all the relevant people, logging into a second website, looking for the relevant people, logging into another website, whereas now they're all just in one place. So yeah, real big time saver. None of this stuff's like expensive kit, but all definitely well worth doing.
When packaged together,
it's a nice,
really useful. It's all about how you use this sort of tech as well, isn't it, really? Because you can have the best like tech and process in the world, but if you don't use it efficiently.
But yeah, then other little bits and pieces, like we have whiteboard still, same whiteboard that we had back in the day in the flat, still got that one, but we also do a lot of like on screens and like gamify a lot of stuff and create like little mini competitions and like a lot of visual stuff around the office, which I think actually does add to culture as well. If you've got a leaderboard of stats from the week of who's done the best, who's got the biggest activity, and it's all just auto generated. We're really big on consistency of performance, not consistency of results. So to have the activity for the week for everyone up on the board to see what they've done, not what they've necessarily achieved, but the work they've put in, and it's gamified in a little league table, so it encourages everyone to do a bit more. That adds a lot to the culture as well, because ultimately we do want to be high performing. That's the big success part for us, and all of that comes from the processes and the work that we put in.
Definitely. Good answer. Last question, most important question. What's the best coffee you've ever had? Didn't see that one coming, did you?
I didn't. And I've made it myself. Best coffee ever had. Probably going to say Crank House in Exeter.
Strong.
Real good coffee.
Rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel. Why you say it's strong as well is they actually do a flat white in a flat white cup. Like if you look on reviews for some places like that, people will complain and say, oh, they made such a small coffee, but it was actually a flat white in a flat white cup.
Yeah.
Right.
Not a flat white in a
Cappuccino.
Cappuccino cup.
Right.
So then you get the proper hit.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, random question, but yeah.
Yeah. So where's Crank House then? Con, give us a
Dunno.
dealo.
Down the bottom of Exeter's High Street. What's
Yeah.
the street down there? 4th Street? Sidwell Street.
Yeah. Exeter based.
One of them.
Roundabout near there.
Do they do
Great.
coffee?
Yeah. Great coffee house. Trendy as you like.
You can go in and you can look to the side and see all of like the
They roast there as
all
well,
the
don't
roasting
they? Yeah.
machines in there.
Wow.
I tell you what, just to add to that, they do excellent banana bread, and they will toast it and give you butter with, and that's a big part of the attraction.
Very friendly in there as well. Every time I've gone in,
Mm.
it's been the same person that served me, and she's always said, "What are you guys doing today? Are you doing some shopping in town?" Like made some convo.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
So yeah, shout out to Crank House.
There you go.
I can't remember what street it's on. I'll tell you all now. Google.
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 Yeah. Well, there you go. There's a little plug there. Bit of local knowledge.
We should just tag all of these companies into it as well.
That's the plan. Tag.
Nice.
Notes in the comment section. Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Tom. It's been a really good conversation. I feel like we've got so much out of that,
Yeah.
actually.
I've learnt so much
Yeah,
about you.
stuff that we've talked about a lot together, but to bring it all together and actually have these conversations is really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Peeled back a few layers there, didn't we?
feel back a few
Yeah, we
layers, yeah.
have.
So thanks so much for coming on.
No,
And,
thank you guys.
Thank you.
and if anybody wants to find out more about Tom, check out his LinkedIn profile, check out our social media. You know, we are preaching brand awareness here,
Yeah.
but you know, we're not preaching that we're the best, that's for sure. But check out our social media, check out, you know, everything around Konker, have a little look and find out a little bit more about the business. If you are recruiting, give the guys a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on. Good
Cheers.
pod, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Keep on conquering.
Keep on conquering.